And I want to ask you about this notion that we keep hearing, including in the Australian media, which just regurgitates the MSNBC, CNN talking points. This notion that Charlie Kirk was deeply homophobic, he was hostile to the LGBT community. You're a gay man, you were a friend of Charlie Kirk. Can you please address that allegation?
Yeah, well, look, I happen to be gay. It's not something that I even think about that often or anything else. I've been married for over 10 years. We have kids. It is what it is. We live a decent life like most people. And Charlie, look, Charlie, like millions of other people, Charlie was entitled to his own personal religious beliefs. There's a video that maybe you've seen, Elon Musk even tweeted it out in the last couple of days, where somebody started asking Charlie, you know, how can you welcome gays into the conservative movement? And Charlie's answer is so wonderfully thoughtful and the perfect example of what Charlie was. Charlie makes a point of saying, hey, I have my own religious beliefs, but America is not a religious theocracy. Did he want America to be restored with Judeo-Christian values? And did he believe that he felt that his personal views were best explained through Christianity? Well, the answer to that is absolutely yes. But Charlie was not crusading against marriage equality. Charlie was welcoming gay people into the conservative movement. By the way, he was also doing that with black people and Hispanic people and everyone else. I mean, all of the commentary around this man is completely ridiculous. But I will tell you, Charlie was at my house not too long ago. My husband and I sat at weddings next to he and his wife. We broke bread many, many times. And again, people are allowed their own personal religious beliefs. I, for one, would not force a religious institution to do anything that it didn't want to do. But that's the difference between a religious belief and a secular institution, which is the government of the United States. And by the way, if you can credit that sort of open idea that Charlie was presenting there, you can credit him for then bringing that to MAGA, which then opened up enough so that Elon Musk and Joe Rogan and Bobby Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard, all of these ex-liberals, disaffected liberals like myself, Rita, I think a little bit like you, could then come and be part of MAGA. So no, he has nothing. There was no hatred in his heart. I would also make a quick distinction. I think it's important. The idea of the LGBT community, people need to stop saying it, because the L's and the G's and the B's have nothing to do with the T's. And that has become a political ideology more than a sexuality or a gender identity. Yeah.
Absolutely, and increasingly the LGB want to distance themselves from the rest of the alphabet. That just keeps increasing too. But I don't even know how many letters we're up to now.
Two-spirit, do you know what two-spirit is, Rita?
Oh, Two-Spirit, yes. We're supposed to start with 2SP now, aren't you, before you start the LGBT? And then you've got the plus at the end, so it's infinite number of letters that you could add to that. Now, can I ask you to respond, please, to this clip from Jimmy Kimmel, the painfully unfunny so-called comic, had this to say on his late-night show.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Dave, this kid was apparently a conservative, which must be news to him and his trans boyfriend.
Yeah, it's wild. First off, Jimmy Kimmel exists as a quote-unquote comedian, and I use air quotes there because I've never heard him say anything funny, but he exists as a political operative in some ways more than Charlie himself existed as a political operative. Yeah. Charlie was out there talking to people and open to ideas. Jimmy is doing a show where he makes, I don't know, probably about $15 million a year to only force one political ideology down the throats of Americans. No, the kid came from what sounds like a decent two-parent household that had some conservative values, and then he went to college and apparently became radicalized there and then had, I suppose, a trans boyfriend and was pushed into leftist ideology. So the fact that Jimmy knows he can go up there and just lie to his audience, I mean, I would say this goes to what I know you guys are dealing with in Australia, which we're certainly dealing with here, which is a massive misinformation war on the populace, that the people who control the strings of everything seem to think they can just lie about absolutely everything, tell you up is down, left is right, boy is girl, and get away with it. And to the extent that Jimmy Kimmel is still on TV, I suppose they can get away with it.
Well, they started with just straight out fakes. They put the alleged killer in a fake Trump T-shirt, and that circulated, and people saw that and believed it before it was debunked. And the lies continue, as you've just heard. Now, it's not just lies, it's utter ugly invective. Streamer Stephen Burnell, known online as Destiny, he had this to say about Charlie's murder and the political climate in America.
If you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, Donald Trump shouldn't have been president for the second term. Every time he's in office, this happens. People joked about when Biden came in, it was so boring, nothing was going on. 7 out of 10 of the largest protests in American history have happened under Donald Trump.
And he also defended mocking Erica Kirk, Charlie's grieving widow.
It's such a simple thing. If you're going to weaponize somebody's grief against the other party, well, then, of course, people have a right to fight back against it. I think that she has every right to grieve in whatever way she wants. But when that grief is going to be weaponized to do recruitment, political recruitment, and further radicalization of the other side, then, of course, you not only have the ability to mock it, I think you have the obligation to mock it. It's insane.
There you go, Dave. You have the obligation to mock her, a grieving widow who has to explain to a 3-year-old child why her daddy is never coming home.
Yeah, I mean, I would say this is shocking, except I've seen enough clips of this guy endorsing violence and saying all sorts of crazy things for years that I'm not surprised at all. There are other streamers. I think you've probably heard of this guy, Hassan Piker, who's huge on Twitch, who's literally called for violence, at blood in the street violence of capitalists, who is still on that platform. But I would say broadly, without making it about a specific person, I mean, we shouldn't be surprised by any of this. I mean, the left in America has purged all of the decent liberals. It has become a radical party that is trying to usher in Marxism, communism, and socialism. And by the way, they finally admit that themselves. You know, years ago, they started calling themselves Democrat socialists. They don't really even say the Democrat Party anymore. Now they are outright socialists. And then when you combine what I know you have in your country too, with the these Hamas marches and everything else, you get this crazy red-green alliance. And what do they have in common? What do the Queers for Palestine have in common with the, the perceived oppressed Palestinians? It's that they would love to take out Western society. That's what they have in common. That's it. Yeah. So it is not surprising that these people would either endorse violence or mock those who have just lost their loved ones because of violence. It's actually a fairly obvious extension of everything else that they tell us.
Dave Rubin, we can't wait to see you in Australia next month. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you, Rita.